using an MPC. You must understand sampling. So let's get started first of all. I've got a bass sound here, obviously. Whoops. Let me go back here and make some clicking in here. There's my bass sound right there. That's pretty deep right there. I'm just hitting a pad thing, so I'm actually in pads. Let me put my cursor here on the right hand side, and you'll see my keys are set up for pad. So you'll see here there are pads here. I've got a sound in here. It's in the program, and that's a sound that's been sampled and placed into my sampler. So now what I want to do is I want to get some break beats. I got a break beat here. All right, cool. I want to just drag it. So you can drag any sample you've got and drag it right into the software. So I'm going to go to here where it says samples right here and just drag it in. And it goes right there. And that sample's called play loop. And it appears right here. Good. That's the loop right there. And so what I want to do next is I would like to probably put the loop right here inside my sample editor. But first, before I do that, I want to talk about the parameters within the sample editor. Now, before I edit the sample, I want to select a parameter for this guide. Now, I'm going to use samples rather than beats or time. I can see it better that way. So now I have this green flag here represents the beginning of the sample, and the red one represents the end of the sample. And so I want to get this sample to be just right. So when I play it from the beginning, it plays cool. So I have a start point here. You'll notice here I'm in trim. Right, here's trim. I turned off link slices, and of course I want to trim it down. So I can come to here, I play from the top, and I stop holding it down. It will play from the beginning to the end of the sample. That's pretty cool. Now these first 4 pads are one shots. That means pad 1, pad 2, 3, and 4 all one shot. Now the first pad, this plays from the start. The second pad played to the start. So nothing from the start. If I move this into here, actually, to here we'll say, and I press play to start, it'll play what's ever before the start of the sample I've selected. So between the green and the red flags is the sample. And before then is just an area that has just been sitting there, or just has been designated as not being part of the sample. And then I have this next one here, which is to the end. So let's pull this into, and we'll see this. So this is play to the end, and this is pad number 3. That's to the end. And then play from the end is pad number 4. And these are all one shot. Now the next row with 5, 6, 7, and 8, I click right here, I can play from the beginning. I've got to hold it down though. So I'm going to use my keyboard here, and that's going to be like the S key. So here's the A key. And that's play from the start. And this is note on. That means I have to actually hold the note down. And then the S key is play from the start. But if I take my hand off, it won't play to the start. All right? That's also note on. And then here we have key number 7. It plays to the end. And then, so the differences between these two, 1 through 4 to 5 through 8, is that the 1 through 4 is one shot, and the 5 through 8 is note on. Now here, this one here, which is number 9, is play all. I just play it, tap it, it's going to play the entire range, what's ever there. It's going to play everything, no matter whether there's a green in the front or red in the back. It's going to play the entire range of what's in front of it. Now I have also here, play sample. Right? And that's number 10. 10 displays the sample. That's the range here that's been selected. That's the sample. And that's one shot. And also there's this one here, which is play sample again. This one is play sample again, which is number 11 right here. But this one is note on. Okay, 12 does nothing. And of course, as you can see here, you can read this. It says play loop. If I hold it down. And then play to loop start. And this one here, 15, is play from loop start. And of course, this is play loop continuously. So if I had something here, I can't really see that. So let's go to here. You won't see that at all. So let's go back to here. Let's get something to start from. Right about there. So just continue to loop. I can just keep moving this thing around and it'll continue to loop. I can pick new points and I'll loop those points up. Now I want to zoom in probably, right? So if I want to zoom in, I can do that too as well. I'll come to here on my grid here and sort of zoom in. See that? Now I'm zooming to my sample now. Now I can get it really good. I can come to here. I can move this in a little bit more if I want. Matter of fact, what I want to do is get a lot closer, then move this over here a little bit. As you can see, I'm zooming into it now. Now I come to here, get the top right about there, and then I'll play this one again, play continuous loop. And I'll zoom out to see what it looks like at the end. Okay, that's not bad. Just keep looping any part you want to loop. So it's pretty cool to do that. So I'll click it again and it stops. And that's how these pads work to help you figure out the loop, to figure out what you want to do with the sample, and to use it all over the sample. So now we understand more about the sample range and how we can use the pads to get around the range. So what I want to talk about next is here at the bottom of our sample edit window here where the sample's at, we have QLink, we got the pads, we got the parameters, and we got the project, right? So the project, we see everything there, boom, we got nothing else. So I want to go back to QLink right here, and the QLink helps us to move things around. Like for example, here in QLink, you'll see here I've got the slice or link slices. Okay, I'm not using that right now, but I have this way to set the start and end points and a way to help me get the perfect view. So for example, here you'll see I have start, and this is in terms of 1,000. So I move up here, I moved up just 1,000th there. See that? That's a big move. I moved it just a little bit. Like that, up and down like that. If I turn the knob actually with a controller, that's how far I'm moving it. That's a lot of movement. I come down to here, start times 100. So I go to here, boom. That's a little smaller, right? It's in hundredths. Here, we have it in tenths. Then here I have it in 1. Back at the top. So I can move everything in certain increments. So the first one's thousandths, this is hundredths, this is tenths, and this is by 1. And so the parameter I'm selecting here is based on samples. Now the same thing applies to the ending. So for the end of the sample, I can move it by hundredths. Rather thousandths, I can move the end. Then there's hundredths, then there's tenths, and then here it's 1 single unit. And that's how I pretty much want to just sort of get a good idea of what's going on with these samples. Now, my best thing too is always make sure I'm going to get to this 0 point or the 0 snap. And what I mean by 0 snap, if I zoom into here more, you'll see in this sample that there's a middle section here before the waveform expands louder. And the 0 snap is right about here. See that there? I want to be there always. I want to be at the point where this starts to begin, and here it's the end of that particular loop. I don't want to get more noise on it. Now, by going to the 0 snap, we get no noise. And we can get the loop to sound perfect as though it was played that way. And so it's important to know where the 0 snap is. So a lot of times what I'll do is I will pretty much don't do this 0 snap because I know I've been doing it for years, but maybe you should do it actually. But I do this is because I know not to go and make my endpoint here. See, I'm trying to move it. I can't. I moved it right there. If I get to right here, it's going to be a little snap, some noise. I don't want the noise. I want to make sure it sounds great when I move it. So I'm going to turn off 0 snap now, and then I can move it pretty easily. If I put 0 snap on, I see what happens? I get this thing where it's just sort of fidgeting around. It's trying to find the 0 snap point. If I go to here, there's a 0 snap. See that? That's exactly when it crosses the 0. Let's say I go to here. And see, every time I go somewhere, it crosses the 0 snap point. The point where the waveform crosses the middle line, which is 0. And see, it just fudges. I can't move it like consistently. If I turn off the 0 snap here, I can grab it and move it anywhere. So be aware of that. You want to find the part which is 0 snap, like right here. Before the waveform gets louder, that would be the end of my sample if I'm going to make it the end. And I do the same thing for the beginning. So if this is on also, it will do the same thing for the beginning. Now in this section, when I talk about here, this little section right here. So let's go back to parameters, right? And these are my parameters right here. You'll see I have the parameters with slice, start, end, loop, X fade, and I have off right here. We have tuning, root, that's the initial root. We have the BPM, the key, detect the key, and we have what is major or minor. Well, there's no music here, so no need for that. We also have from BPM, detect BPM, X222, and of course detect key. And this is a sign. I can assign it to any particular sample. We also have function, which we'll cover next too as well. But first, let's start out here with slice. So here in slice, when I hit the top here, I'm going to play it. Actually, just put my cursor there, hold it down. That's my entire range there. So that's the sample, but it's not starting on the 1. So what I want to do here now is get closer to this point. I'm going to zoom in again. So I'm just going to get this little right there at the end of my range here and open this up. I want to see this. There you go. And now I can see it. So I'm going to come in here and get real close to that. And I want to find my 0 crossing, of course. So I want to get real close. Right there you go. And so now we see it, my 0 crossing for my snap levels here. So if I can press the 0 snap right here, I'm good. If I try to pull it over here, okay. If I go further in, it's like, wait a minute. But here it sees it's in 0, it knows it. But once it gets here, it says, wait a minute, you're not. And it starts to do this quivering thing where it's like, I gotta find it, which is great. So I'll pull this out of here though, but I can see it. I know where I want to be. I want to be right about here. Perfect. And then you can always test it too. If you're afraid, you just, oh, well, it does that. I know it's wrong. Then you go right there, you're good. You snap out of it. So now I want to zoom back out. So I'm going to zoom back out a little bit more. I want to get the full sample range. And this is my sample size I want to check out right here. So first I want to do is probably play it. Hold this mouse down. That's it. That's what I like. So next what I want to do here is I can see this is my start point. And here this is my end point. And if I were to loop it, this is what it is in the middle. I can come here and lock it in, right? So I'm locking that in, and now it's locked in as a loop. Now I can press play loop continuously. Let's see if it works. It works. Let's stop that. Now I want to come to here now, and here I have 3 options, actually 4. It can be off, forward, alternate, and reverse. So I'll go to forward first. I'll hit the sample loop, and now we're looping this sample from top to bottom. Okay, good. Next, we're going to go to here, and we're going to do alternate. It goes forward, then reverse. Stop that. Now you'll see also above here, the range selected in the viewer appears here. And the full range of the sample is all the way to here. This just gives us a range. So we know that we move this around here, we can go to another range in the sample. I go back to here, we're back at the top. There you go. Now, the next one is reverse. Now notice this, I'm going to play reverse, but it's going to play forward first and then reverse and reverse from that point on. So the first time I hit it, it plays the forward mode. Then it goes, now it's in reverse. It'll keep reversing over and over. Okay, I'll hit it here, and we end that. Now, below here, we have X-fade. Now, X-fade is a way that samples fade from one sample to the other sample. So here, this is a perfect X-fade. Here's a different fade, where it sort of fades mostly at the higher end of the sample range, or the sample's audio output. And you'll see it here. So we can select that also. We can also adjust that here with our cursor right there and adjust it. I'll leave it at 0 for right now. No need for that. Next, we have tuning. I can tune the sample. I can also change the root key. That means if this plays C3 on a keyboard, that's the root of the original sample sound. Then we have BPM. So I can detect the BPM. So I'm here with this thing here, and I'm going to go to detect BPM. Now, once it does, it detects BPM, it comes up with this, and that's from X2 to 2 here, and it says here, okay, that's the BPM, 150.31. That's pretty cool that the software can actually figure out the BPM, which is great. And then we have here also a key or a key range I'm not going to use. Now, one thing we have here, which is always used in most sampling, are functions. And we use functions to figure out how we're going to use the sample. For example, here, I have discard. So I click on discard, and we'll see here we have this little diagram. And it says function discard. And you see here the diagram has a garbage can on the right and has the two pieces that are on the left and the right of the sample area. And we're going to throw them in there. And it says alert. Pressing do it will delete the data beyond the start and end points. It will delete those pieces. I'm not going to do that. But if I did, I'd press do it. Boom. And once I do, look at that. This is what I have left now. This is one piece. But see here, it's not the full sample size. I'm going to come into here, squeeze it out. And well, there you go. That's the full sample size now, and how we see it. And now I can just hit the pad. It ends. So suppose I don't like that. I gotta redo. I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna press undo, and we got the whole thing back. So don't worry about it. This is non-destructive editing. Be aware of that, because we are here on the computer, right? It's pretty cool. Same thing actually in the standalone too as well, because they have realized years ago that people don't want to lose their stuff. So now what I want to do here, I'm gonna go back and hit one more thing I want to do here. I want to get rid of this little thing here. This little blue dot there means that this is looped. And that means it's locked in there. I don't want that. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to pull that's good. I hit that there, and that blue is gone, and now I'm good again. And that's how I can discard stuff. So let's go back to here again. And we're going to do something else here. We're going to go to delete. So in delete, I can delete a section out here. So you see here, I can have a beginning and an end point. I can delete that section out, and a new point will come there. So let's say, for example, we decide to start from here, not from the beginning there, right? I'll press do it, and it delete that out. So now I have a whole different idea of what's going on. So a different idea. Let's go back to that. Let's undo that. And so we have this area right here, right? And so what I want to do is come in here, and I'm going to press delete so you can see it. That's delete. And here it is, a chop right there. Now what's it going to do? It's going to delete the area selected between the start and the end points. So this is the start point. This is the end point. It's going to delete this out of here. And we see the sample size now as being 12.88 thousand samples. Let's make it easier for us to read. I'll come to here. Oops, let's cancel this. I'll come to here now. I'm going to go to beats so you can see it much easier. I'll press delete. And now we know we're at 15.3 as terms of in terms of measures. I'll delete. And now we're at 13.1, so we deleted it. So we'll play it back from the top. Okay, we deleted it. Let's do undo that, and we're back where we started from. Now next we have silence. I can place silence there. And you can see from the diagram, this area right here is going to go in the garbage, and we're going to have a space between the start and the end points, right? So let's try something different. Let's cancel that out. Let's change these points up here. Let's say I want to go to like here. And I want to start somewhere like, let's say here. Let's hit this back. I want to go to here. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to go to here. It says silence. I'm going to go press do it. And look at that. That area is gone totally. I made a space in between the sample pieces here. And now there's nothing here. Let's undo that. That's how silence works. I can extract. It's my favorite thing to do. Take parts out. This part goes here. I'll put this one over here, this one over there, you know. Take some parts out of here. Let me get a hi-hat. Let me get a snare drum. Let me get that ice cream truck. You know, you never know. So here I've got to extract on, and the obvious diagram shows you that the front and the back of the sample areas stay there, but we're going to take this sample out and make a brand new sample. You'll see below here it says a name. I can give this whole new area a name. So I say, okay, that name is blah, blah, one there, right? So I'm going to call it something else. I'm going to go right to here. And we're going to go to here. I'm going to make it just called, I'm going to call this loop. Right? And then I'll press and say do it. Okay, it's done it. I don't see it here, right? But I will see it if I go back here and bring projects up, and it's right there. Loop. And I'll click on it. Okay, that's pretty fast, right? But you get the idea. That's because that's actually being set up by the project's own parameters, which is the warp engine controlling every sound so that it all has the same BPM. So we're going to go back here again, and we're going to look at this one, the original one right here. And we're going to play this. And you'll see it's going to go reverse because I have the reverse still on. So I'm going to turn the reverse off right here and turn this off totally so it won't do that again. So now what I want to do is we're going to look at normalize. And this is what I want to do always, and I should have done it in the beginning, but I wanted to get you an idea of what functions do and how they work. So now at this point, I want to get a beginning and the end of the sample. So I'm going to come and get the beginning. Here's the beginning right there. I want to get the end. Let's get the end of the sample. Somewhere back here's the end of the sample. I've got my sample size set up, and I want to check out the beginning first. So I'm going to press here. Not too sure. Stop that. Stop it. So I'm going to come to here and zoom in. To the end, of course, right? I can see here the end. There's a 0.0 crossing here. There should be nothing there. I'll go a little further back just in case I want to use that piece. And then that's okay. Now I zoom back out here. So now I want to go to the front end here, right? Right there in the front. So now I want to zoom to the front. So notice how I click that front, and now I'm in the front. Because I click that front, I click that flag, and now I want to go to where that flag is at right here. So I'm going to get my zero crossing perfect. So of course, I want to zoom in. There you go. I want to get to where the zero crossing starts right here. So I'm going to drag this up to here. Right about there's good. I like that. And then now what I want to do is get back to see the full length of the sample size here. Perfect. And now I want to normalize. I want to make sure this is loud enough or perfectly loud before it distorts to give me the maximum level of audio from the sample. So I want to normalize it. I come to here, we'll select normalize. As we do, the diagram explains it pretty easily. You see a low waveform here, you see a louder one here. And it says normalize. So I'll just press do it. And now it's louder. We'll play it back. Perfect. Now, of course, I can reverse the sample, which would be easy to do, of course. We've heard that before when I did reverses, so I'll cancel that one out. We can fade in. I can come here and do a fade in, linear fade in, or I can do a log fade in or an exponential fade in. Exponential fade in. Right. And there we go. Let's try this one. Do it and see how it fades in. Just slowly in. Let's play this back. We hear nothing here. It's like taking a long time to get there, and now it's going to get there. That's in the beginning to the end of the sample. So we don't want that. Let's undo that. So I can come here and do log 2 as well. So but what I want to do is probably use the sample I already made. Boom. This sample right here. Right? And I'll press this one in. I'll do it with this one. It's going to be shorter and easier to do. So I'll come to here. I want to fade out, though. I will fade out. Now, we're going to fade out with linear first. And we'll just play the sample. So it's fading out, slowly fading out like on a fader, right? That's linear. So it's going inch by inch down. So next thing I'm going to do here is undo that. And then we want to do a fade out here again. And we're going to go to here, not linear. We're going to log. And we'll press do it. And see, the log is going to be just in chunks of going down. So I come to here and I'll hold it in. So it's going down, but not like a fader would go down, right? So it's going to be each section will go down by a certain amount. And that's how that works. So whether fading in or fading out. Let's undo that. Now we have pitch shift. One of my favorite things to do is to pitch shift a sample. Sometimes I want the sample to have the same pitch no matter what. Well, if I slow it down, I don't care. I want to have the same pitch. So, or I want to change the pitch up. It may not fit everything else in the project. I want to raise the pitch of that sample. And how I'll do that, I come out and do pitch shifting. Okay, that's the pitch of the sample. Let's raise it up some more. So I come out, pitch shift it up. Let's somehow pitch it up here to like, let's go by 5 semitones here. There you go. Now I'll press do it. Now notice, the sample didn't shrink at all. I'll play it back. Here we go. So the pitch changed. It's higher in pitch, but the length is pretty much the same. So that's pitch shifting. Let's undo that. Great. Now, the next thing we want to look at here is time stretch. Now, time stretch is a unique feature. You want to make a sample fit a higher speed or a lower speed, but be the same pitch no matter what. So it's time stretching. It's like stretching it out. So it's perfect. So here I've got numbers. Okay, so it says what is it? How many beats? You got 8 beats here, and it says original tempo, blah blah blah. What's my next tempo? And here's the rate. Okay, that's it. So I want to change the tempo, obviously, right? So let's get my new tempo. I come to here, and I want to make it faster. Yeah, let's make it real fast. Let's go really nuts on this thing and see how good this thing works. There you go. That's good. So now we're going to go from 75 to 95 BPM. Press do it. So now it should be the same size and the same pitch, but faster. There it is. That's it. And that sounds really good too. Now, all these features are great to help you be creative when you're making up beats or working on your project. And it's really cool that you can use these features to make that stuff stand out. Because then you can make it fit anything, whether it's saxophone, I don't care, ice cream truck going down the street, a plane flying overhead. You may want to have some things have the same pitch, but be shorter or fast in duration, so that way it fits your project. And these features are great to help you do that. So my last feature here before I talk about anything else will be changing the gain. But first, I'm going to undo that. Got to undo that. Play it back. That's it. So we're going to go back here to change the gain. So I want to go to change the gain. So sometimes when I do the idea of normalizing, it's really loud. Okay, it's not really, really loud, but it's perfect. And sometimes you get a piece that you want to have just a certain matter of loudness. Right? You want to have a certain amount of gain, we'll say. That means you want to gain up a little bit more than normal, just enough to see if it actually breaks the peak. You want to try and experiment to see if it's too loud or loud enough, or do you want to just get it just not normal, but a little less than normal. So you want to adjust the gain. And this means in any direction. You may want to make it quieter or louder. So normalize just makes it louder, but the gain I can adjust either up or down. Now this is pretty simple to do. I'll probably do a down one here, and I'll press do it. And now you see how small that is? That's ridiculous, actually. I would never use that. But this is just for an experiment for you to hear, and I'll go to here, and that's quiet. I'm just going to undo that. I don't even want to hear that. I never want to hear a beat quiet. It's not going to work for me. So that's how that works pretty much there. And we also have bit reduction, and we have stereo to mono. So stereo to mono is pretty simple. I go from stereo, and then I make it mono, and boom, it becomes just one file, and it becomes just a mono file. Let's undo that. And now the next thing to do is I can go bit reduce. I can reduce the bit depth. I can make it sound a little grimy. Let's do that. And now I'll play it back. A little different. Let's go back here. Let's undo that. And let's go to here. I'm going to try something else. Let's go down further in our bit depth reduction. Let's go 8-bit. I like 8-bit because I remember my SP1200 has, oh, that was awesome. I won't even go back that far. That's too crazy to go back there and think about that. But I'll press do it at 8-bit. And now I'll play it back. You hear the noise in that thing? Now I would keep that probably, and I would try to get rid of the noise. I would keep it, get rid of the noise, and what I would probably do is bass it out somehow. So always try to be creative if you hear something you like. I want to explain a few things now. So I'm in trim mode. I've been in trim mode for this presentation so far. And of course, we've had the start point, the end point, and we know this is thousandths, hundredths, tenths, and then this is 1 unit. So here in loop point, I can change the loop point. So if I come to here like this, right, I want to move it in ones or something. I could go to here, one piece at a time, and just move it up. Or I can do it, of course, like in this term, or in hundredths, and of course in thousandths here. Let's say I want to change the loop size. So I go to there, I'll pull it down maybe by about this much. As you can see, it's going to be pretty hard to do that, but you've got to sort of zoom in, get a better view of it here, and you can actually do that. But you can see already that moving out and looping out to that part and getting it to the right spot is kind of hard to do sometimes. Once you get there, you're pretty good. So this will get your loop front point and move it. That's the third row here. Now, next I have here I can select slices. Okay, if I had a bunch of slices, I could select slices if I had slices and I did a chop of slices or whatever, which it didn't. And then here, of course, here, you can see right here, I can scroll. So for example, I can zoom in, then press play continuous loop, and it goes next page, next page, next page. So scrolling through the loop, I can see everything in the loop. When it gets to a certain section, it plays from there, obviously. Now I can stop that. And of course, here is set the page. Now I can go here and set this to follow. And I'll go to here. Set it to follow. Now I'm gonna go right here and then I'll press play loop continuously. So now it's following. No longer by page. I can zoom in or zoom back out. And that's how that works. Now, once I get a bunch of samples, I can assign a sample. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to press assign right here. And here in assign, I'm looking for a program. So this is the first program you always get on your MPC whenever you open it up. So it's the new program. I want to assign this to pad 1. And of course, this is a non-destructive slice. And I'll say do it. So now that's on pad 1. That's pretty cool. So I know that program is right there on pad 1. Now what I like to do sometimes too is add other parts into that sample to assign it. For example, I'm here, I want to get probably a kick drum. So I'm looking for a good kick drum. This first one's probably a really good one. So I may come to here and bring this all the way down to the first kick drum, right? So I want to go to here, get closer to it. Then I want to zoom in and get a piece. So I come to here and say, I want to extract this. Let me hear it back though first. I like that one. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Yep, looks pretty good to me. I like it. Beginning's good. 0 point crossing is pretty good here. I like it before it comes in here. So I'm trying to pull it, but I have the 0 crossing snap right here, so it won't move because that's 0 for sure. And so what I want to do is extract this piece out of here. I want to extract it, give it a new name, and I'll call this, let's see, it says loop. I'll call this, wait, undo that. I'll go back to here, right? I want to make it kick. Boom, that's good. And I'll press do it. Right here. And then I press do it, it's great. I have it now lined up in my system. Here it is right here, the kick. Perfect. So now I want to get a snare too. Let's get a snare drum. So I'll open up a little bit more here. And I want to move this to get a snare drum. So I will come here. I want to get to right about there, right? So I want to get to here. I want to take this piece and move it to right about here. I got 0 crossing snapped up here, so it's going to be kind of cool. This might be easier than you think it is here now. And so I get right here. That's apparently 0 crossing. And let's just test it to see. That's pretty much right on. So let's zoom in to make sure. And that's why 0 crossing is so cool, because it takes you right to the right point. There's no problems with some sort of noise or something. I get this. I want to extract this out too. I'm going to go here and press extract. That sample's extracted out. I'll give it a new name. I'll come to here and I'll call this snare. That's great. And then I'm just going to press do it. And now that's also my library. So I go to here. Perfect. So you can pull parts out and then add them also. So I come right here. I want to add this one in. I got the kick drum right there. I'm going to assign it also. I'm going to assign this kick drum to, let's see, the same program. And this will be on pad number 2. And then I'll say do it. And then I also want to get the snare drum, which is right here. I want to assign it. I want to put this on pad number 3. There's 3. I'm going to give it a program name, the program name that's already in there, and I'll press assign it. That's pretty cool. I've got them assigned. They're right there, and it's an easy way to do it. So I can go back to home here, for example, and then I want to go back to home, and I may want to look at a program, right? So I'm in a sequence here. I've got nothing going on. I go to the drum program, and then I have no program assigned, but I do. It's program on, and here it is.